Hey guys, it's Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. And I got a big update for you on the upcoming winter storms and severe weather that are about to impact a huge portion of the country. Now, these storms are going to be completely different from what we've been dealing with recently. Remember those massive Arctic blasts that sent snow all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico? Well, this time we're looking at something a little more typical for winter, at least in terms of setup, but that doesn't mean it won't be impactful. We've got some serious storms coming over the next couple of weeks, and I want to give you guys a heads up on everything we know so far. Right now, we're tracking a major feature up in the northern and northeastern United States.
Yeah.
Where the jet stream is absolutely roaring with incredibly fast winds high up in the atmosphere. This is dragging in a fresh shot of cold air into the northeast, but unlike the last Arctic blast, this one isn't making it quite as far south as quickly. That's because we've got a closed off upper level low helping to pull in some warmer air from the Gulf, the Pacific, and Mexico, which is setting the stage for a much different type of storm system. Well, this will keep things a little warmer in parts of the south and southeast. It's also going to create a setup that favors severe weather, particularly in Texas and Louisiana as we move into Wednesday and Thursday. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Looking at the forecast models, we can already see how this is coming together. There's a deep tray over the western US, and it's doing exactly what we'd expect, scooping up moisture from both the Pacific and the Gulf. And with all that cold air locked into the center of this low pressure system, we've got the perfect recipe for a late January severe weather outbreak. Now Wednesday doesn't look as bad as Thursday in terms of storm intensity, but that doesn't mean it won't be active. By the time we get into Thursday afternoon and evening, we're going to see upper level winds intensify quite a bit, and that's going to significantly increase wind shear. And anytime we have strong wind shear combined with incoming Gulf moisture in a cold front, we have to start thinking about tornadoes. Now, one thing that could keep the system from becoming a full-blown severe weather outbreak is the lack of convective energy. We're not dealing with the kind of unstable, supercharged spring and summer air that really fuels massive tornado outbreaks. But even without that, there's still so much wind shear that I'm almost certain we're going to have some tornado warnings in play by Thursday night. Meanwhile, in the Northeast, today is already turning into a mess with fast-moving snow showers and intense snow squall. These are being driven by that powerful polar jet dropping straight down from Canada. And over the next couple of days, we're going to see multiple rounds of this kind of activity across New England. Expect a lot of lake effect snow, especially on the southeastern sides of the Great Lakes, and just an overall brutal winter pattern. For a lot of folks in the Northeast, it's going to feel like winter on steroids over the next few days. Maine, in particular, is going to get hammered with some of the coldest air of the season by Wednesday. Now, a lot of places have already seen their coldest temperatures this winter, but if you're in parts of northern Maine, you might actually be dipping even lower than before. And as I'm filming this, there are already snow squall warnings in place for portions of Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. If you're out driving today in those areas, be extremely careful because these squalls can drop visibility to near zero in just a matter of seconds. By Tuesday afternoon, we'll see even more snow moving in over the Great Lakes with some significant accumulations likely in southern Ontario, southern Quebec, and northern New England. Now, shifting our focus back to the south and central US, we're also keeping a very close eye on a swirling low pressure system that's beginning to take shape. The models are finally picking up on it more clearly, and we can now see it at the surface. What's really interesting is what's happening over Texas, where Gulf moisture is surging northward and colliding with that cold air, setting the stage for widespread severe storms. By about 8 p.m. Wednesday, we're likely to see storms erupt across central Texas, potentially reaching as far north as the Red River region. At first, these storms will mainly be capable of producing large hail and damaging winds, but as they track eastward, the tornado threat is going to increase, particularly by Thursday. Wednesday carries a marginal risk of severe weather for cities like Dallas, Wichita Falls, Austin, and San Angelo. So if you're in those areas, expect hail, strong winds, and the possibility of an isolated tornado. Thursday is the day we're really watching with a slight risk extending from southeastern Texas into much of Louisiana. This includes Lake Charles, Alexandria, Monroe, and Baton Rouge. If you live in those areas, make sure you have a plan in place, because I do think we'll see at least a few tornado warnings issued throughout the day. And while all of this is happening, the Rockies are also going to be dealing with some significant snowfall. Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona are all looking at decent snow totals, especially in the higher elevations. Some people have been speculating about a major snowstorm in this region, but right now it doesn't look like it'll be anything record-breaking, just a solid winter storm. By Thursday afternoon, most of the snowfall in the west will start to wind down, and our attention will turn back to the Mississippi River Valley, where heavy rain and flash flooding are going to become serious concerns. From Dallas up into southwestern Kentucky, including Little Rock and Memphis, we're expecting torrential rainfall, and that means the potential for flash flooding. Farther north, another round of snow will be developing on the backside of this system. By Friday, cities like Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo, and parts of New England will be looking at a decent snow event. I'm not confident enough yet to throw out exact snowfall totals, but based on the setup, I'd say we're looking at a widespread 2 to 4 inches across most of the region, with some localized higher amounts. I also want to point out that Southern California saw some much needed rainfall over the past 48 hours, which has been really beneficial after all the wildfires. Now, shifting over to the Northeast and the Ohio Valley, we're already seeing some snow falling, and there's a chance for some snow squalls today that could reduce visibility to near zero, especially in Pennsylvania and New York. So if you're in those areas, keep that in mind. We're expecting several inches of snow, especially in western New York, and a few inches are possible in New England as well. Looking ahead at the next couple of weeks, we're going to see some more rounds of snow, especially in the Northeast. For today, we've got one round of snow, and then another one will move across the Northeast by tomorrow morning, bringing more snow accumulation. By late Wednesday into Thursday, things will calm down with just some light snow left before it moves out by Thursday. Our focus then shifts back to the southern plains and the Rockies. By Wednesday, there will be a low risk of severe weather across central and southern Texas, with isolated damaging winds and hail possible. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall will move across Oklahoma and Texas, and we're looking at the potential for flash flooding, especially as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Snow will also impact the Four Corners area, mainly affecting the Rockies, particularly around Colorado. This winter storm has shifted further west recently, so it's looking less likely that it'll impact the Central Plains or Midwest. But I do think we'll see some snow in early to mid-February. On Thursday morning, we're expecting more heavy rain and thunderstorms across the southern plains, mainly Texas and Oklahoma, before it moves into Arkansas and Louisiana by Thursday afternoon. We'll be keeping an eye on severe weather risk south of Dallas and Fort Worth, especially around Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. It's looking like a lower risk overall for severe weather, but we could still see all types of severe weather, including tornadoes. By Thursday night into Friday morning, the storm will grow in size. This storm is pulling warm air from the Gulf of Mexico, so it's not coming from the north like we typically see with winter storms, which means there won't be a lot of mixing, and we're likely to see mostly rain across much of the country. However, there will still be some snow possible across the Midwest and Northeast, though I'm not expecting much, maybe just a few inches at best. This storm will eventually move offshore by Saturday, and we could see more snow across the Midwest and Northeast, though the exact details are still uncertain at this point. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. As we get into early next week, things get a bit more uncertain. The GFS model is showing the possibility of another big storm system forming around the second weekend of February, but it's still too early to know exactly what that will look like. Forecasting this far out is always tricky, so we'll keep you posted as more info comes in. Sign looking at rainfall, this storm is going to bring a lot of rain, especially in Oklahoma and Texas, where we could see anywhere from 2 to 5 inches. This could lead to flash flooding, particularly in southeast Oklahoma, where we might even see isolated areas with 5 to 7 inches of rain. The Ohio Valley and Dixie Valley are also expecting 1 to 3 inches, which will help with drought conditions. But a lot of rain in a short amount of time could still cause some issues, particularly in Texas and Oklahoma. Now, the risk for severe weather on Wednesday and Thursday is something we're watching closely. Wednesday's risk looks pretty minimal to me, with just a few isolated severe storms possible south of Dallas and west of Houston. We could see some damaging winds and hail, but not much of a tornado threat. Thursday, however, could be a bit more significant for severe weather, especially in southeast Texas, Louisiana, and Dixie Alley. We'll be watching for thunderstorms with damaging winds, hail, and the possibility of tornadoes. If we get any supercells ahead of the main storm line, the tornado risk could go up. We might go live for this, so make sure you're subscribed and have the bell turned on to get notified if we do. Back in the Northeast, there's going to be a decent amount of snowfall tonight and tomorrow. We're looking at anywhere from a coating to 3 inches of snow for most areas, with higher elevations in New England getting 2 to 5 inches. Upstate New York could see 4 to 8 inches of snow, and some spots might even get close to a foot. Winter storm warnings are in effect in these areas, so be prepared. Looking ahead to the next couple weeks, the chances for seeing more than an inch of snow are pretty low for most of the country, except for the northern plains and the Northeast, where the chances are a bit higher. But don't take this too seriously just yet. Forecasting snow beyond a few days is always a bit of a gamble. I do think we'll see some snow across the Midwest and Northeast by Friday or Saturday, but it won't be much, maybe an inch or two at most. As for temperatures, we're expecting above average temps for much of the country this week. Many areas from the East Coast to Texas and along the Gulf Coast will be 10 to 15 degrees above average on Thursday and Friday. By the weekend, warmer air will move in, and North Texas could even see temps in the low to mid 70s on Sunday. By Monday and Tuesday, though, we could see some colder air pushing down from the Rockies and into the northern plains. But don't worry, this doesn't look like an Arctic blast. It'll likely fizzle out as we get into the middle of next week. So no need to panic about freezing cold just yet, but make sure you've got your winter jacket ready, because it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster with temperatures and snow chances as we head into February. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.